Welcome to Guitar Vacation. We're going to talk a little bit about playing with your fingers. I've done a video before about why I ended up dropping the pick and choosing my fingers to play with, but I never have done any kind of material based on if you're somebody that wants to start using your fingers and is thinking about ditching the pick, what is a good path or some helpful things to go on to get started down that road. First, what I'll talk about is just incorporating your fingers to get started in very basic stuff. So let's just say, for players of all level, we'll mess around with some cowboy chords, right? So just a little D to A. And what I would do first to start making that mind connection with using your fingers is I would just pick an easy chord and arpeggiate it. Basically pick it finger pick style. And then when you get comfortable, switch. Hey kids, now we're going to talk about feelings. Similarly to like if you've ever done the little chromatic exercises to get your fret hand fingers used to doing stuff, not very musical but good at get your fingers moving. In that strategy, your fret hand, you're usually covering a fret per finger, and very similarly you're gonna kind of assign fingers to each string. So in that case, I'm playing the bass note with my thumb and the highest note with my ring finger. So it's thumb, index, birdie finger, ring finger, then back up. And you can do that as basic as you want. Use any chords. You don't have to use cowboy chords. But that would be what I would start out with, just to get your fingers in the game. And, that's something over a period of weeks or maybe a month or so, you start to feel, okay, I'm engaging with my fingers and they're losing their dumbness, their guitar dumbness that we all have when we start a new technique. All right, so then we think about chords and how we play chords just using our fingers. Now, let me say that there is the classical method using fingerstyle guitar, where you hold your guitar like this in your hand a perfect way and everything. And that's not really, definitely not what I do. And we're playing rock and blues and maybe jazz and stuff like that. And coming from that kind of, hey, I'm a rock player that's my home base, our techniques are so individual and so different that I personally would hesitate to tell somebody, hey, this is exactly how you want to do it, because we've all seen amazing people using the pick and their technique is very different. Of course, yeah, you can study and pick slanting and all that, but you know, we're talking about finite things there to improve your technique. So that being said, your technique as far as using your fingers, like I don't hit with my fingernails or anything like that, that largely takes away some of my favorite parts of playing with my fingers, which is using the soft part for those dynamics. See, I can get kind of a snappy sound with a good attack, or lose the attack. So just wanted to throw that little bit in there. So now we're thinking about, okay, we've got our fingers in the game, we've been doing these little arpeggiations. How am I gonna strum or play chords? First way is just kind of a finger flick where you're using all your fingers to some degree. And I'm making a little bit of contact with my fingernails in that particular instance. Really not that hard. You're using the same cadence as you would with a pick. And let's say you need to play that bass note, right? I'm not that good at that. Simple, using all your fingers to get that little bit of similar to a pick attack. And really rhythmically and everything like that, you're going to be doing the same that you would with a pick. If you're doing something a little more with a little tighter rhythm, like, you know, using a dominant 7/9 chord, otherwise known as the James Brown chord, where you're in that case, I'm doing like a wave almost, instead of using my whole picking arm like we're playing down on the range cowboy chord. I'm going to be doing so that's a different way to do it. Also, you start thinking about how you can incorporate your thumb and how much of that you want to rely on, because you can strum with just your thumb. And that's just my thumb hitting. Sounds a little bit different. You may like it, you may not. doing something like that, I'm gonna be using the whole finger thing. But you can definitely use your thumb. And then the other cool part about having your fingers at the ready is you can do a pluck to play a chord. And in that case, I'm just clawing in and actually just picking all the fingers or all the strings that I want to play with the fingers that are assigned to them, like we talked about earlier. And you'll find that useful in different places. You know, it's one of those things when you start doing it, you're not thinking, oh, I'm going to switch to string pluck now. You know, you're just doing it if you want to. Everything's got a little bit different of a sound, a little bit different attack, and some things lend themselves well to different kind of stuff that you're playing. So those are kind of the main ways that I would start with playing chords. And next, when you start playing your single note lines, you have some decision making to do. What I've done is I use my thumb as my main mover, but also use any finger at any time if I need to get a string activated, and I do legato personally. But I don't always do that. You know, sometimes it's appropriate, like if you're playing certain melodies, to have that accent of having the pick, right? And you see there, I'm just mainly using my thumb, but also a lot of the times when I switch strings, I'll let either my index or my middle finger be kind of a helper finger, very similar to hybrid picking if you're using a pick. And you know, what you'll find is different fingers doing different things sound different, and what you like you'll start to gravitate to automatically. But let's say you're coming from a picking background where you were an alternate picker, you know, and you kind of want that option. There's a couple ways that I've seen somewhat successfully employed to pick, and the way I do it, it's weird. I use my thumb and middle finger, because when I first started doing that, I would still hold a pick in this finger. So this is something I incorporated something I incorporated before I totally dropped the pick. I've seen a lot of people with a lot better success using the index birdie finger method. And I've seen people that are fingerstyle do that really fast. I hadn't developed a alternate picking substitute other than legato, because that's a lot of the reason why I dropped the pick. Is I was really getting tired of the sound of the pick attack and my inability to take that out of the equation when I was alternate picking. So I go the legato route. If you want a picking route, you know, that's me using mostly thumb, middle finger, and index finger, and you know, there's no rhyme or reason. I'm just using whatever is easiest, really. And the two finger method I've seen employed very successfully, doing a lot faster, like as fast as alternate pick. So you could choose any of those to develop, and maybe all of those, depending on what you want to do for single note line playing. All right, the last thing I'm going to talk about is a faux or fake pick attack. There are things that you play where you want to hear that pick, like if I'm playing power chords, I want to hear that pick. And my way of doing that is I hold my index finger as if I were holding a pick, and instead of hitting it with a pick, I get that attack sound from striking the string with the fingernail of the index. So and anything you would use a pick for, you can deploy that. So let's say I was doing a bend without pick attack. I'm using my thumb, right? Wow, that sounds weak. I wanted to get the Stevie Ray rake. That is me using that fake pick technique using my index fingernail. So it doesn't sound exactly like a pick, but when you need that really good very committed pick sound, you can get pretty close. I'm sure there's different ways of doing that, but it just came real naturally to do it with my index finger the same way as I had held a pick for years. You know, when you're playing riffs sometimes, you know, when I'm doing it with just the pads of my fingers, I don't have some of that riff attack. with. And you can even alternate pick that way. It's not the best for me. I haven't had the best results doing it. But I mainly use that as just having a kind of option to get a picked note sound when I need it. All right, well, that's my little starter kit for folks that want to start using their fingers and are thinking about ditching the pick. Just some very basic ways that you can start employing your fingers, getting them moving, and strategies to do the most common things you're going to be doing on guitar. I hope this helps somebody. By all means, ask me questions if there's anything I didn't cover that you would like to know, and I'll be glad to further expound on the concept. So, happy guitar vacation to you, and until the next time, you enjoy your guitar vacation, whether it's with a pick or your fingers. Later.